Hi, friends, and welcome to Webinar Wednesday Session 3. I am super excited today because today is my favorite topic, putting the fun in fundraising. And I don't know if you've met me or noticed, but I'm pretty fun, and I like to put the fun in just about everything I do. So I am excited to display a presentation that I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll take just a moment. And I want to thank you so much for joining us on this Session 3 Webinar Wednesday. So let's get this slideshow on the road. So let's jump right into it, because putting the fun in fundraising is probably not necessarily as easy as it sounds. So I want to go over the very first thing that we should consider when we're talking about fun of any kind, because the kind of fun I like to have, petting dogs, kissing their feet, weird things like that, is not necessarily fun for everybody else. So identifying exactly what makes something fun for you, your group, or your community is really important. The other piece is also identifying what makes things not so much fun. So the things that suck all of the fun out of everything that we do, because we want to make sure that we're avoiding those pitfalls. And then, of course, remembering that fun is relative, because fun is also in dysfunctional. So we want to make sure we're avoiding some of that. So how do we define fun? How do you do it for you and your group? It's going to be different for everybody. Everybody has a different set of things that they enjoy doing and a different set of things that brings them together. So you should ask the question, if you're a team leader or you're trying to organize some sort of a fundraiser of any kind, what do you enjoy doing? Because sometimes this takes some work. And if you're not enjoying what it is that you're doing, then that's probably not going to be all that much fun. And if you can't put fun into it for yourself, you're probably not going to be able to make it fun for everybody else. So fun is really the name of the game today. And so these are the things to consider. What do you enjoy doing? What do your friends enjoy doing? What does your community enjoy doing? And we are living in a really unique time to be a human, coming out of a global pandemic. And as the world starts to open back up, I think we're all craving a lot of things that were fun before the pandemic that we didn't get to do for most of the last year. So even things like just going to a birthday party suddenly are way more fun than they were maybe 2 years ago, when going to a birthday party was just part of the ho-hum of everyday life. So taking advantage of being able to be getting together again, congregating in groups, and seeing each other's faces again, like all of those things, it may not be very difficult to find some fun in all of these very everyday activities. Now, what are the things that make things not fun? When we're talking about fundraising, sometimes there are a lot of things that make fundraising not so much fun. And having some extensive experience in fundraising myself, I am a very creative person. So if I can take anything and turn it into a fundraiser, I will do it. Some of the most fun things that I've been involved with are things like an indoor ice fishing tournament, which is done with paper plates. There are no ice, there are no real fish, but it's a really kind of wacky idea, which we'll revisit in a couple of slides. But the point is that it doesn't matter how creative you get. It matters if you're going to have too much to do in order to pull it off in the vision that you had, and to have fun while you're doing it. If it's too much work, chances are you're probably not going to really enjoy it that much. And if, again, you're not enjoying it, your folks are not going to enjoy it either. So you want to make sure that you're managing the scope of your fundraiser first and foremost, because that is usually the number one fun sucker out of all of the fundraising territories. Is if you do something that's too complicated, takes too much to pull off, or is just hard to manage, it's going to be really difficult to keep a fun and upbeat attitude and raise as much money as possible. So being realistic about what you and your group can realistically pull off. Do you have the time to pull off your idea? Do you have the resources to pull off your idea? If you walk through the whole thing from start to finish as you envision it, where in that process do you see that there could be potential complications that are going to turn something that was meant to be a lot of fun into something that is just not much fun at all? So it's really important to know your why as well, because every fundraiser is going to have its challenges. I don't mean to imply that all of this is going to be super easy. But knowing your why and trying to keep things manageable helps you to overcome those challenges as they arise. So for my why, I am someone who, for me, the fundraising for Habitat for Humanity really boils down to having a place that can be a sanctuary. I believe every person deserves that, and it's something that is crucial to lay the foundation of a good quality of life, no matter what your goals in life are. So for me, as I'm planning any sort of fundraiser, or I'm planning these webinar Wednesdays, or there's been a 6-day week and I'm starting to feel a little bit run down and a little bit tired, having that why in the first and foremost front of my mind is really helpful, because I think about how we're going to get to build homes for families that's going to become their sanctuary as they grow, and how they're going to be able to be part of their community, and all of the connection that comes with having a home and being a part of a community. So sometimes when things are getting a little bit rough, knowing my why makes it so that I am re-inspired to keep working hard, but not too hard if you're managing the scope of your fundraiser appropriately. And then, of course, tackling your basics. If right out of the gate we're getting too creative and we haven't really climbed those first bottom branches of the fundraising tree, then we're probably maybe biting off a little bit more than we can chew. So when I say tackle the basics first, what I'm really talking about here is, have you told your friends and family? Have you shared with them that this is an important cause to you? And have you reached out for support in those areas? Because oftentimes, if you're planning a bigger fundraiser, those are also going to be the folks that are going to be attending this event, if it's an event, or they're going to be the ones participating in whatever way that your fundraiser pans out to be. So making sure that you're letting them know about the support and you're really just getting them on board makes a big difference as you're trying to go a little bit bigger. So of course, the next thing is creativity pays. Fundraising is something that is necessary for so many different people and organizations. And it's because we all have causes that we really care about. And for a lot of us, there are more than one cause that we care about. So for me personally, I am somebody that wants to see an end to Alzheimer's disease. So I help to fundraise for them. I believe that everybody should have a safe, affordable home. So I fundraise for Habitat. And then also I have a doggie that I absolutely love and I rescued. And so I want to make sure that other furry friends get their forever homes. And so I also try to fundraise for the Humane Society. Those are a lot of causes. And so I think everybody gets to a point where they can be burned out on fundraising. And so what's really important in terms of being able to elevate your fundraising is to be a little bit out of the box, be a little creative, because as you're asking usually the same folks over and over that are on your networks, whether it's a social network or an in-person network at your church, all of the people that surround us, that support us, and are also supporting the causes that we love, are usually bombarded with all kinds of asks. So in creating a really successful fundraiser, one that's creative, it really helps to make sure that you are setting yourself apart and you're also giving the folks that support you a different motivation to be able to participate in your fundraiser. So here, I want to be very clear that creativity does not mean complicated. You can be creative like this photo here that is on this slide. I thought this is really cute because this was a photo that I found that was a kid that wanted to raise some money to end cancer. And so I don't know if I can, here, let me move this down here. so that we can see it. So I thought this was really clever, being able to identify lollipops as a way to go through. And then in this bucket here, there's different colors. And so you can pick out the different color. And that's how this person decided to do some of their fundraising. And I thought that was really cool. So it's not complicated, but it sure is creative. So that is a really important idea to keep in mind as you're creating your fundraiser. The other thing is unusual and weird are winners. And being a very unusual and weird person myself, I can tell you that this is some of the best ways to be able to set your fundraiser apart. So some of the fun examples of being unusual or weird, but really having something that is creative that a lot of people don't see, is the non-fundraiser. So this is where, let's say, for example, you are participating in the 28th annual Spring Walk to Build, and you're like, I don't want to walk. That's not what I want to do. Well, make a donation and say that you don't want to walk. So as a team, you could put together these tasks of things that you don't want to do. So maybe there's a bake sale and you don't want to bake those cookies. Well, give us the money based on what would have come from those cookies if you had baked them. So there are lots of literature online that is available to develop some of these ideas. But today's webinar is really to just help you open up your mind to some of the possibilities that maybe you hadn't thought about before. The second idea that I really loved was a wall o' money. And the wall o' money is maybe something we're going to try in the Restore, because I loved it so much. And I thought it was an idea that was really super cool. It works best when there's sort of a high traffic area. So perhaps your church is getting ready to reconvene again with all of the guidelines changing for vaccinated folks. Maybe you're able to start congregating in person again. And if that's the case, and you know that there's going to be a place where folks are convening, having a wall o' money could be a really great way for you to simply boost your fundraising. So a wall o' money is you pick a wall or a bulletin board or somewhere that folks are going to be passing on a regular basis. And on each one, on the board, you put different envelopes and you number them, say 1 to 200, depending on how big your wall or your board is. You put a number on each of the envelopes that correspond with how much money you want somebody to put in that envelope. As people walk by, they put the money in and they seal the envelope, and that level is gone. So what's really cool is if at the end of the period, and the Spring Walk to Build period for being open for the next 6 weeks or so is really a good time frame to be able to pull off a wall o' money. So once you seal up the envelope, no one else can put that amount in there, and it leaves the other ones that folks have to put in. So if, for example, you had a wall o' money that had an envelope from $1 all the way to $200 and every number in between, eventually, if you were able to get money in each one of the envelopes, that would be a significant amount of money that you were able to do by being creative, and it doesn't take a whole lot of work to be able to pull it off. So that was a really creative and cool and somewhat unusual way to really boost your fundraising. This next idea is something that I hope somebody does, because I will line up with all of the extra money that I have to smooch your pooch. If you have a really cute and friendly dog, perhaps like my cute and friendly dog, although he's not much of a smoocher, you really could use your friendly pet to be able to make some money for the walk. And maybe the way this would work is you set up in a particular place where you know folks are going to be, and you charge money for them to snuggle your pooch. If you are somebody who has been quarantining at home for the past year and you're really just re-emerging out into the world, imagine the amazingness if you could smooch a pooch as you're re-emerging from the world and helping a good cause at the same time. Because for me, a home really is not a home without a pooch. So I love that idea. The other idea that's listed here that I also really love is this air guitar competition. This is something that you could do virtually. You could do it in person. You charge a cover fee to let somebody be able to participate. So maybe it's $5 to show us your best air guitar moves. And then the winner gets maybe a cut of the proceeds, or maybe they'll donate it back to your fundraiser. There are 100 ways that you can set it up, and whatever way is going to work best for your group will determine the needs and the wants of your group and all of the circumstances around how you're going to execute your event. This next one I really, really love, because there is no better artwork in the world than the heart and soul that a child pours into their artwork. So as we're all considering what home means, maybe the fundraiser, maybe you have a whole bunch of kids that love to draw pictures and do things. Well, one of the ways that you could turn that into a fundraiser is ask all of the kids in your group to draw what they feel like is home. What does home mean to them? And then once they've created all of their artworks, you could frame each piece utilizing very inexpensive frames from like the Dollar Tree, for example. And then you could frame them all and have an auction. What parent is not going to want to outbid the grandparents of their child to be able to get that masterpiece of artwork? And oh, that is the walkie here at the Restore. So I'm going to go ahead and shut that right off. This is a live wacky webinar, friends. You never know what's going to happen. So moving on from the children's artwork auction, I think that's a really great idea. And if anybody is interested in taking that idea on, please let me know, because I'm happy to help in any way, shape, or form. And that goes for all of these ideas. Maybe something we're talking about today is really sparking your interest, but you're like, I'm gonna need some extra help to pull this off. That's what I'm here for. We're still offering one-on-one coaching sessions. And so if you have an idea that's sparked from today's webinar, reach out to me, because I'll be able to help you develop that idea into a fundraiser that is manageable and hopefully successful for your team. So what is your goal? I think this is really important for us to take just a moment and talk about this in a webinar. We don't require fundraising goals as part of the 28th annual Walk to Build or any of our spring Walk to Builds. And the reason for that is because we want you to be able to do the fundraising that's going to work best for you and your group. But in my experience of fundraising, one of the best ways to manage the scope of your fundraiser and really to determine how big you got to go and what you got to do is to set a goal, and set a goal that's reasonable. Maybe there's a lot of things that have been happening in your community, let's say for your church, for example, and you know that folks just don't have the same resources that they previously had. Set a goal that's $200 for your whole team. You know, if you're able to pull in $10, $20 donations, you know, then you've hit your goal. So make sure that you're setting a goal that is within reach, and then design your efforts around reaching that goal. So if you're going to have an air guitar competition and you know you want to raise $200, and you know you have about 10 people that are going to do it, ask them to contribute $20 to be able to help build homes or repair or modify homes for people that want to stay in their homes, but otherwise wouldn't be able to. Those are two programs that are going to benefit from all of the money that is raised in the 28th annual Spring Walk to Build. So these goals are going to help us reach our goals and help make our community more sustainable in terms of housing. So turning some of these ideas into dollars. We've talked about all of these creative ideas, but I wanted to boil it down just a little bit more and give you a sort of a synopsis of the kinds of ways that you take an idea and you turn it into a fundraiser. So like I was just talking about, one of the easiest ways is a pay to play sort of model, which is we're doing this thing. It's an air guitar competition. We're going to rock it out with our air guitar. So if you want to participate, $5 or whatever it is that your goal is set, and coordinate that based on your group and the resources that you know you have available. So being able to pay to play, that's awesome. And maybe you know that there are going to be folks that come in that are going to watch your air guitar competition. And what a better way than to host a 50-50 raffle. Or if you're going to be super creative, you could have an opposite of a 50-50 raffle, which instead of pulling one number out that wins the pot, throughout the entire event, you pull tickets out and those people are then eliminated. So that once you get to the end, that final number that you pull out, that one is going to be your winner. How many times have you gone to a 50-50 raffle and known, my luck is so not in the bag today because I'm never one of the ones that's picked first, but I'm always one of the ones that had picked last. Well, then this is your kind of fundraiser. And it makes it unique in a fun way that most people maybe don't expect. And that always is a good motivator to get folks to open up their wallets and be very generous. The other way to be able to turn your idea into a money-making fundraiser is to offer goods or services in return for donations. So we have the standard ones here: big sales, t-shirt sales, auctions. One of my favorite ones as an amateur photographer is I love to take family photos. And when I'm raising money for the Alzheimer's Association, that's one of the best ways for me to help a family create a memory and also be able to raise money to help find a cure so that everybody gets to keep their memories. That's just one example of things that you could do where you offer a good or a service in return for a donation. Now for Habitat, that's also a really amazing idea to be able to take some photos. And, you know, it's with these days, it's your phone. You know, you don't have to have any special equipment. You just have to have the idea and get people inspired to buy into your idea. That's really the whole point of everything. And again, if you need some help doing that, please reach out to me because I have some experience and I would love to be able to share that experience with you and help you turn your fundraiser into a very successful event that you get to host for you and your community. The other things that you can do are pledges. Maybe you're taking a walk every day, like Denise Perry for the Elijah Kellogg Church. She's been taking a walk every day and posting it on Facebook. And so if you're someone that knows that maybe you have trouble doing something every day, I'm not a very consistent person. And so maybe you know that that's something that people would be like, yeah, if you can do that, I would definitely, you know, give you some money for every mile that you walk. It's sort of that if you don't think I can do this, this cause means this much to me that I will prove to you that I can do this, especially if you're ponying up some cash to be able to make it worth your while and help build some homes or repair or modify some homes. And then, of course, drives, doing bottle drives, penny drives. One of the unique drives that I saw in researching on the internet was a shoe drive. And there are organizations that if you collect shoes, they will take those shoes from you and then they will send you a check that you could then turn into a donation for your 28th annual Spring Walk to Build effort. There's no shortage of ideas, but these are just some of the categories about how to turn your ideas and things that you love into a fundraiser that will benefit sustainable housing on the Mid-Coast. Now, like I said, the internet is our friend. It is a honey hole of ideas, creative ideas, simple ideas, traditional ideas. Maybe you just need some help getting started. Here are some really great links for some different ideas where I got some of the things that I talked about in today's webinar. I will also post these in the section, the resource section of the web portal. And if you need some ideas, here's just a small smattering of where to start. But Google is also your friend, and knowing the internet is a honey hole for fundraising ideas is just something that was worth reminding everyone. Now, I want to let you know that we are announcing that Team Restore is going to be leading by example. We are also going to be fundraising for the 28th annual Walk to Build. So we are organizing a team of volunteers, customers, and partners of the Restore to be able to contribute in our own way to the 28th annual Walk to Build. So one of the things that we're going to do is we are going to host one day at the store where the whole day is going to be all about the Spring Walk to Build. So we are going to have a Spring Walk to Build sale where we're going to have 20% off all appliances and all of our upholstered furniture and other things. Air conditioners. That is going to be a very popular item when we do this event on June the 26th. And it's going to happen all day at the Restore from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. And then at 3 p.m., we're going to be closing down the store and we're going to go on a team walk. And if you would like to join us, we would love to have you join Team Restore because we're going to be doing some things like the walk, where we all ask our networks, you know, those low branches, to be able to ask our networks to support us. And then we're also going to be doing a potluck after party where maybe there's going to be just spitballing here. Maybe we could do a cornhole tournament, or maybe we could have one of those children's auctions where children are making art and then we'll auction them off at the after party. So this is still very much in development, but the first step is really identifying the resources that you have. So in our case, having the Restore gives us an unbelievable advantage and being able to have a space to be able to promote our walk efforts and let folks know exactly the things that we're doing and why we're doing them. The next thing that you have to consider is how to organize things in such a way that it's going to turn those ideas into dollars. So when we have this Spring Walk to Build sale, all of our proceeds from that day are going to go towards the Spring Walk to Build. So we're going to have our volunteers say, if you have family or friends that have never been to the Restore, this is the day to drive them there, because every single purchase at the Restore made on June 26th is going to go towards the Team Restore effort for the Spring Walk to Build. So that is really a synopsis, a very quick and dirty way to talk about how you can turn some really creative ideas into fundraising dollars that will help support habitat programs. Now, I also want to take a moment and just thank our sponsors who have been incredible in helping us to raise money to support these programs. Goodwin Chevrolet, Midcoast Hospital, Ames True Value, 5 County Credit Union, Welcome Norway Savings Bank, Katahdin Trust Company, J. Edward Knight, Midcoast Federal Credit Union, Hancock Lumber, Benjamin & Co., and of course, one of our most steadfast supporters, Bath Savings. We couldn't do this event without you, and we really appreciate all of the support that you've given us, not just this year, but throughout so many of the years of the Spring Walk to Build. We're also really excited to see some new sponsors like Benjamin & Co., Timber Frames and Custom Homes. That's really exciting to have them on board, and Katahdin Federal Credit Union. So we are really excited to be able to make a big difference in sustainable housing on the Midcoast, thanks to walkers like you, and thanks to sponsors like these generous businesses that you see here. So we have one more webinar Wednesday until we are finished up with our 4-piece webinar series. So if you have an idea for what you would like us to cover in that last webinar, you shoot me an email, you give me a call, let me know in any way that is most convenient to you, because we want to cover any of the things that teams maybe are still struggling with, or really whatever it is that you want us to cover. Shoot it on over to me and we'll design it specifically for you, because it's all about you and the amazing generosity that you have to help us raise this money to be able to build these homes for families on the Midcoast, the next one being in Wiscasset, and also to help critically repair or modify homes for folks that are often disabled or elderly and need some help doing these repairs to keep them in their homes. It's all about sustainable homeownership, folks, and we really appreciate your support. So thank you so much for watching today's webinar, and we'll see you on Friday for the walk update.